All right, so Supernote just had a pretty big update. I'm gonna go over all the top features of that update and why you guys should update if you haven't already. If you don't know how to update your Supernote, it's super easy. You just swipe down from the top here, go to settings, and then system and software update, and you can do a check here. Right now I'm up to date because I just got this update, and we can take a look at our system version right here. This is everything that was added in 3.22.31. This is the version that came out right after the beta version that I was on. You might have seen a couple of my YouTube shorts about the beta, like the smart lines and different things with the documents. So that's going to be all those features in this update, as well as along with a couple new things. This should be available for everyone now. It's not a beta. My Nomad took a little bit longer to get this. So if you don't have it yet, don't freak out. Just kind of check every day or so, and it should be there really soon if it hasn't already gotten to you. So let's just kind of go through the list here and see what they all added. So first, they added the smart straight line feature, which we're going to go through pretty in depth here. And then another big thing that they added was they optimized the stroke effect by processing each stroke individually. And this is just basically a much better handwriting anti-aliasing. It's instead of it, actually. So if you saw my 5 settings to change in a Supernote video, you might have turned on that handwriting anti-aliasing, but guess what? That's not there anymore. So this completely replaces it, and it is better. It just makes all your handwriting just look a little bit nicer. So those are some really cool features that they added, and they adjusted the document. It supports expanding and collapsing multi-levels of content. They just moved where the star mark recognition switch is in the settings. They support a new file type, BMP images, and they brought back the setting to calibrate your stylus accuracy on the Manta. They took it away for some reason, but it's back now. And then some security enhancements and a system file picker allowing access to files in third-party apps. You can just treat this a little bit more like a regular tablet with that, which is helpful if you do any sideloading of apps. They also made the handwriting experience in Word documents better, which I will take. I want consistency between them. And they optimized handwriting experience in the documents to reduce accidental page turning, so just basically better palm rejection and better sensing of that kind of stuff. And then just some minor adjustments to the calendar and search here, which you guys can read if you're interested. And the last main thing I want to highlight is the auto refresh feature. And to enable it, you go to settings, display, and input. And that is another big thing we're going to talk about, because honestly, that is a huge benefit that they just added, and I love using it. Then there is all these fixes that they had here, and none of these are really new things. They're just fix a bug or something. So if you had a bug on the Supernote, go ahead and pause the screen right now and go through this list and see if they maybe fixed the issue you've been having. First, we're going to go right into display and input and check out that auto refresh feature, which you see I already have turned on, but by default, they actually keep it off. So you will have to go in here to display and input and turn this on. Now this will be working for you. So I'm going to bring in the Nomad here to show what it's like with auto refresh off versus on. So this does have the update. As you can see, it has the option for it, but I'm going to keep it off. And let's exit the settings. So as you can see, the Nomad did not do any kind of refresh when exiting the settings, where the Manta does now. Really, anytime you exit any kind of like app or screen or anything like that, it will refresh the screen automatically, where that is not something that they used to do in the past. As you can see, I can go back into this document here, go back, and it does not refresh the screen at all. Now, sometimes there wasn't really much ghosting happening anyway, so that was fine, but this will just do that every time to make sure there is no ghosting. So what I was kind of hoping would happen is if you use like the highlighter or something and you make some marks with it on both screens here, that this would actually auto refresh itself when going to the next page. Like, Hopefully you guys can see this on screen, but there is a huge after effect of where that highlighter was on the other page. Not quite as bad on the Nomad, but it's still there. But the Manta had it even worse. So I was kind of hoping auto refresh would clean that up. And it does not. As you can see, neither of them are doing a page refresh or even a local refresh for that. And now going back and forth here, it's just building up even worse and worse on this side. So yeah, not the best ever. I really wish auto refresh would have done that and refreshed between some pages or something like that, but no. However, it will do some local refreshes in a note. And this, I did not cover my YouTube short about this feature at all because I didn't realize it would do that. So let me show you guys that here. We're gonna go to the regular ink pen at 1 for both of these and just write hello, hello. And then I'm going to use the lasso selection tool. And when we move this around, there's gonna be a lot of ghosting happening there. And if you pause for a moment, nothing happens on the old Nomad. That's how it always was. And you basically have to stop it and refresh it manually, and then that would get all cleaned up. Now, with auto refresh turned on, if you move this around, yeah, it's getting really, really bad. Boom, it refreshes that, which is honestly super helpful. But as you can see, it wasn't a complete full screen refresh. So here we go again. It refreshes that area. Or if you just move it a little bit like this, it will just refresh that zone. So just where you're moving it, it will refresh. I think that's pretty cool. I just don't see why it can't do that going between pages too. So now this Nomad's looking pretty rough, got lots of ghosting happening there. And the Manta's looking actually better this time. It seems to go back and forth which one handles things better or worse. It's kind of weird, but yeah, like this time it's not handling that highlighter so bad. It's doing really well actually. But you can still see there's some after effects of everything. And I just wish it would take into account that you've swiped between a couple pages. And then when you pause for a second, it will refresh. Remarkable 2 does this really, really well, although they give you no option for a manual refresh. That is the one saving grace with this. It doesn't turn off your manual refresh. Still, when you need to, you swipe up and it's done. And it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. But now it auto does it for many occasions, like going in and out of a note, it refreshes your screen. So when you put this into sleep mode now, it does a little bit of an extra refresh. If you can see, it's flashing a couple more times than it did here. It just makes sure that you get no after effect of whatever sleep screen you had here onto your regular notes, and you get no after effect of your notes onto the sleep screen. I'm going to be leaving my auto refresh on both these devices. I think it is helpful. Still, if I had one complaint, it would be that it doesn't refresh inside of a note really ever, besides those localized refreshes when using the lasso tool. But I can very much live with it. The manual refresh is super easy to trigger, and this is still a significant improvement. And I think this is just another reason why I love Supernote's devices, even more so than something like a Remarkable. I just see them listening to the problems that their users are having and fixing them fast and well. And they have a great history of doing this. Supernote updates are some of the better on really any platform right now. So yeah, I like it. I'm excited to see this feature get even better as time goes on. All right, before I keep rambling on about that same thing, let's go back into our test notes here. And I'm gonna show you guys the smart straight line feature. All right, so the Nomad is going to be demoing like a line grid, and the Manta is going to be demoing a dot grid. The dots are very faint on Supernote's template here, so hopefully it comes across on screen well enough for you guys, but if not, I promise you, these are 5mm apart dots, and this is a template I'm using. It's not just a plain background. But basically at any point, you can draw a line, hold it there for a few seconds, and now it is a smart line. So you can change the angle that you have it at, extend it, shorten it, make it really tiny, make it really long, anything like that. It will snap vertical and it will snap horizontal. This allows you to make your own templates a lot easier, which they do advertise as a feature. So let's just keep this one there. And they have this prompt that comes up when you use it for the first time. So it explains how to use it. Draw a relatively straight line and hold the pen for a second, automatically convert it to a standard straight line. Great. Then you can adjust the length and the angle, horizontal snapping, just like I was mentioning, and vertical snapping. This is another great thing. You can kind of make shapes and stuff like that with the line to line snapping, which we'll show off in just a moment, and template snapping. So see, as I have these lines right here, I could draw a new straight line and actually it will slow down and snap right at these template lines. And that is really helpful for organizing, making things look really nice, all that kind of stuff. And like, look at this near perfect box that I can draw with these perfect straight lines. That is really, really nice and helpful. They show us off as you being able to make your own templates and stuff like that too, which I can totally see happening, especially with it having the snap to other line feature and the vertical, horizontal. Obviously a box is the easiest to do, but if you do a vertical line here, horizontal line there, and then you want to connect the two of them, well, look at this. It snaps right to that corner and works perfectly. And it's not snapping to the template, it's snapping to the line, as you can kind of see where it's happening there. So you make a really easy triangle. Unfortunately, the only real shape you can't do with this is like circular shapes and stuff like that. There's no perfect shapes for that. But pretty much any polygon shapes you can make with this tool now. I think it's better than Apple's implementation of smart straight lines, Remarkables. I think it's the best one out there at this point. I would just prefer them to add on to this and just have all perfect shapes, kind of like Apple. And I think Remarkable might have that in beta now. And you can get most of that functionality now here in Supernote. And I hope to take it the next step to perfect shapes. But yeah, as you can see on this dot template here, I can start at one of these dots and draw a shape, and it can snap to any single dot, which is just really nice. And you can get super precise with this. So if I want that dot, there we go. Then I can start at this dot, go to another dot, line it up just perfectly. Boom, boom, boom. Now, obviously, I didn't count exactly the right number of dots here to make this a perfectly even triangle, but I got pretty close. And if you want to take the time to count each individual dot, you totally can, and it works really well. So yeah, this is actually a reason for me to use the dot template. I was never a big fan of it for writing or anything like that. In fact, I can see me using this to help me build a template and then changing the background back to the plain template, and then taking a screenshot and then setting this as my actual template for future notes. And you can build it all right on device. That's awesome. In fact, I might just make myself a 5mm line template using this grid. Why not? I can do that, and that's really cool. So those are like the big headlining additional features besides the new handwriting software, which I do think it makes my handwriting look even better and more precise. Unfortunately, I updated both my devices And if I was smart enough, I would have waited on the Nomad so I can kind of show you guys side by side what the differences really are. So I can't give you a great side-by-side comparison, but from my experience, it is better. It's not worlds different, but it's better, and I think it's worth the upgrade. The only other feature I really want to show you guys quick is how they handle documents now, which it is a pretty nice improvement. So here's the full document I have containing the entire NKJV Bible translation, so many different chapters and sections. And before, it had none of these subsections. So it would just list all the chapters of every single book of the Bible all out as sections to go through. And it was much harder to navigate between them. Now you can collapse it, Old Testament, New Testament. So first you pick which one of those you want to go with. All right, let's go New Testament. Then you can pick which book of the Bible you want to go with. Let's just say 1 Timothy. Then you can just see the chapters associated under that heading too. And very easily, I went to a completely different section of this document. Obviously, this works for documents beyond this Bible translation, but the premise is exactly the same and super, super helpful. Way easier navigating documents, especially really large ones with lots of subsections. So I'm going to take advantage of this feature. Maybe it's not a big one for you guys, but I thought it was big enough to talk about. Anyway, guys, that's all the highlighted features from this update of Supernote. They gave a very similar update like this to the A5X and A6X, so the older ones as well. So if you got any of those X series Supernote devices, update your device. Take advantage of these new features. They are great. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment below. And of course, subscribe if you have not already. It really helps this channel grow and reach more people. If you have a Supernote Manta yourself and you were liking the pen loop I had in the device in this video, I made a whole video on how I just launched it as a product that you guys can actually buy. So please check that out. If you're interested, it goes to support this channel and this content. And most importantly, I hope it just actually helps you and makes your experience with the Manta better. Along with that, I also launched a few merch items as well on that same site. A t-shirt, it looks just like this with the same logo, and a crew neck and a hoodie just like it. The only difference is it doesn't have this arm badge here with the secondary logo, but yeah, I think they're very fairly priced. So we just wanted to be able to get them to you as cheap as possible. Because I understand that you just wearing them out there is you representing the channel and giving us free advertising, to be honest. And that's super cool. Most importantly, get what you guys want, no pressure. I just want them to actually help you and work for you. If you're curious about any of the equipment I use in my setup here, it's all gonna be linked in the description down below. And as always, have a great rest of your day.